Very good morning to you. Welcome to Breakfast with Roger Johnson and Louise Minchin.
Hello, good morning. Our headlines today: millions of people are set to be moved into the highest tier of restrictions as the NHS struggles to cope with a record number of coronavirus cases.
Boris Johnson urges MPs to back his Brexit trade deal in a vote later today.
Good morning. A call for a circuit break. In football, the West Brom boss, Sam Allardyce, says the sport needs a break as positive coronavirus tests increase in the Premier League.
And it's another cold, frosty and icy start to the day. There'll be some snow flurries around once again. I'll tell you where they'll be here on Breakfast.
It's Wednesday the 30th of December. Our top story on the programme this morning: millions more people in England are expected to be moved into the highest tier level of coronavirus restrictions after a record rise in infections.
The Health Secretary Matt Hancock will make the announcement in the House of Commons this afternoon. Anisa Kadri has this report.
The centre of Southampton empty after the toughest coronavirus restrictions came in on Boxing Day. Today, the government's expected to announce more areas of England will enter Tier 4. And there's also talk of whether 4 tiers is enough. Yesterday, the UK announced another 53,135 COVID cases, a record daily figure. It's partly down to a Christmas lag in reporting, but also reflects the fast-spreading new variant of the virus. And NHS staff say they are at risk of becoming overwhelmed.
The peak's not going to come for maybe 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. And the big thing for us will be, we've had the Christmas social mixing, and the question is people will do the same thing at New Year, and then we'll have another peak further up.
More than 21,000 people are being treated in hospitals for COVID across the UK. In Wales, they're dealing with their highest level of patients now.
This is something that's taking a real toll on the staff. At some point we will sit down and take stock. I don't think we've fully absorbed the effects on us all psychologically. But at the minute we're very focused that we've got a job to do. We've got several months more of the winter to get through, and we're really still in the eye of the storm.
In Northern Ireland, hospitals say although under pressure they are coping. And in Scotland, people are being urged to stay at home over New Year as cases hit a record high. In Romford, patients had to be treated in parked ambulances outside the Queen's Hospital. Essex has declared a major incident, enabling the county to seek further support from the government to address the pressures. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister is expected to decide whether to keep secondary schools shut in order to try to reduce coronavirus transmission. NHS providers, the group representing hospitals and other health trusts in England, want to see the government put more areas under Tier 4 restrictions today, concerned that services are being stretched to their limits. As many pin their hopes on the vaccine for normality to return, trying to keep cases down through the winter remains a priority. Anisa Kadri, BBC News.
So you're watching BBC Breakfast. At 7:30 here on Breakfast, we'll be speaking to the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock. There's so much to talk to him about today. If you've got any questions as well, do send them in and we'll try and get through some of those too.
Not least this next story, Brexit, which of course rumbles on today. Boris Johnson calling on MPs to back his post-Brexit trade deal ahead of that vote in the House of Commons later today.
Parliament has, of course, been recalled for the vote a day before the Brexit transition period ends. Our political correspondent, Jessica Parker, has more.
Boris Johnson will tell the Commons it's a new chapter in our national story. Time to reassert global Britain. His post-Brexit trade deal has the broad backing of Tory MPs, including long-standing Eurosceptics.
There are bits and pieces where we've had to compromise that we don't like. But overall, to produce a sovereignty-compliant deal, a free trade agreement with the EU, where we get free access to the EU single market for our goods without tariffs and without quantitative restrictions, is what people said we would never be able to achieve.
Talks went to the wire. The agreement, set to be approved today, will take effect tomorrow night. That is when the UK stops following EU rules as the transition period comes to an end.
Up against no deal, we accept this deal.
Sir Keir Starmer has instructed his MPs to back the deal. He said it's thin, but suggested it's better than no deal. But some Labour MPs are expected to defy him.
I think Keir is making a fundamental mistake in whipping to do this. I think if he'd whipped to abstain, he'd have a unified party. I think also as well, our comms on this, on why we're voting for this, have been, I think, appalling. And I think what we are doing is walking in yet again to a long-term bear trap that the government has put down.
Brexit has often caused division, even at times political turmoil. But after years of heated debate and hard negotiations, the country will soon start to find out what Brexit really means. Jessica Barker, BBC News.
Rescuers in Croatia have spent the night searching for survivors after a powerful earthquake hit the country.
At least 7 people, including a 12-year-old girl, died, and there was widespread damage. The epicentre of the quake was just 30 miles from the capital, Zagreb. Keith Doyle reports.
A man is rescued from a crushed car. He is reunited with his child, who had already been pulled free. It was a little after midday when the 6.4 magnitude earthquake hit, the strongest to hit Croatia in decades. The town of Petrinja took the full force. Half of its buildings have been destroyed, according to the mayor, who was talking to reporters when the quake struck. A 12-year-old girl died. These women were able to walk away from the collapsed town hall. Others were moved to safety, however they could be. Rescuers from all across Croatia searched amongst the rubble for survivors. This man said, "I don't have anything left. Everything crumbled." In the nearby city of Sisak, the mayor was holding a news conference when the tremors started. The main hospital here was badly damaged. It was also felt hundreds of miles away in the Slovenian Parliament building. The town of Petrinja was almost destroyed during the brutal civil war in the 1990s. Today's earthquake has brought devastation here once again. Keith Doyle, BBC News.
The US President-elect Joe Biden has strongly criticised Donald Trump for the slow pace at which Americans are being vaccinated against coronavirus. Speaking just weeks ahead of taking office, Mr Biden said the rollout of the Pfizer and Moderna jabs had fallen well below expectations and promised to ramp up a programme of immunisation.
I'm going to move heaven and earth to get us going in the right direction. I'm going to use my power under the Defense Production Act when I'm sworn in order private industry to accelerate the making of the materials needed for the vaccines, as well as protective gear. Vice President Harris and I have been speaking with county officials, mayors, governors of both parties to speed up the distribution of the vaccines across the nation.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have shared their hopes for 2021 with a little help from their 19-month-old toddler, Archie.
After me. Ready? Happy?
Happy. New.
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 Boom.
There's nothing like a giggle, is there, from a little baby? Prince Harry and Meghan's son has spoken publicly. I love it, spoken, it's so sweet.
Giggled.
Said about 3 words publicly for the first time in the royal couple's new podcast for Spotify. The half-hour holiday special features celebrities including Sir Elton John and James Corden. They reflected on the past year and paid tribute to healthcare workers for their sacrifices.
Let's have a first look at the weather, shall we? Very cold start this morning, Matt, and those figures just prove it.
They do indeed. Morning, Roger Louise. Very good morning to you as well. Coldest at the moment, Dalwhinnie in the Highlands of Scotland, -9 degrees, but a widespread frost elsewhere across the country. And once again, to go with some icy conditions, there's a little bit of sleet and snow around. Let me show you where the latest of those showers have been. Quite icy, particularly around north East Wales and in towards parts of northwest England, Cheshire. Sleet and snow here, same too in Northern Ireland, and a bit more in the way of significant snow pushing in towards the Highlands at the moment. Rain around the coast. For most though, it's a dry and bright start. For many, it will stay that way. Any sunshine though through England and Wales, generally hazy as we see rain affect South Wales, down in towards the southwest later. Snow continues to fall across parts of the north and west of Scotland. Maybe some Good covering if possible of the higher ground here as far south as the Trossachs. Southern Scotland, though, staying dry and bright. Fewer showers into Northern Ireland potentially this afternoon, but showers keep going into North Wales. Rain around the coast, a little bit of snow over the higher ground. But towards the southwest, while many will see rain this afternoon, snow across the moors, and that snow will extend across the Downs and other southern counties of England as we head through the evening and into the night. So a covering of snow possible here and there. Rain, though, for many. And then as we go into tonight, mostly snow flurries to North Wales, northwest England, most significant snow through eastern Scotland, and another cold and icy start to New Year's Eve. More on that, though, in about an hour's time. Back to you both.
Yeah, plenty of more. Thank you very much. It really is chilly out there. Thanks, Matt. Nice for you to be here. Thank you.
Shall we have a look at the papers, see what's making the headlines on New Year's Eve? New Tears Eve is the headline in The Sun this morning, which reports that 2/3 of England is set to be under the toughest coronavirus restrictions from as early as tomorrow. The paper also suggests that school years 11 and 13 are now likely to be delayed from returning until the 11th of January. Remember, they were the ones that were due to go back on time.
Millions more people will be placed under these stay-at-home measures. That's according to The Times. It reports that hospitals in London are drawing up plans to send intensive care patients to other parts of the country amid increasing alarm that COVID cases have reached a record high.
Online, the I newspaper reports that the Prime Minister has been warned that the NHS faces a catastrophe in the new year without a nationwide lockdown.
And the Mail reports that Boris Johnson is to hail a new chapter in Britain's history as his EU trade deal goes before Parliament. The paper says MPs will spend 5 hours scrutinising the 80-page bill which places the trade deal into law.
Let's have a look inside some of the papers then. This is inside The Sun. Talking to Matt then about the cold weather, the cold start this morning. A lot of snow yesterday in many parts of the country. Some pictures here from... mainly from the north, from Wakefield, from Barnsley, from Staley Bridge in Greater Manchester, but also from Worcestershire as well. People enjoying the snow with a prediction that there could be 6 inches of snow for New Year, it says here. But
I mean, look, it's a nice thing that some people out are enjoying it, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is Dorset, actually, the main picture, so it is further south too.
This is in quite a few of the papers this morning. It's about cups of tea. I have quite a lot of cups of tea, and actually, apparently, I'm not over 85. But if you are over 85, it's a good thing. How many do you have a day?
I have too many.
I was going to say 2. Only 2?
No, I mean probably more than 5. I would say.
Yeah, I have cut them down a bit actually because I think they don't also. It's got caffeine, doesn't it? So pensioners who drink more than 5 cups a day have been found to have better brain function than their counterparts who don't, according to the researchers. They studied 676 people over 85. Tea drinkers who enjoyed more than 5 cups a day were shown to have more focus and a sustained attention span. This is research from Newcastle University. Well, I love a cup of tea.
You've got dogs, so you'll empathise with this.
Not that many dogs, though.
No, I have one, but this is incredible. Festive season, ? We're dog tired. The wolfhounds that turned into real party animals. This is Claire and Jason Mather. They've got 9 dogs. Here they are all lined up for their Christmas lunch. It's very organised, I have to say, all with their noses in their bowls. Here they are all flaked out afterwards, just like the humans.
I think you do get sort of critical mass. Once you're past 2, you might as well have... I mean,
Really?
9 is obviously a lot because you can't fit them in the car.
Well, I let our little dog out this morning before I left the house, and there you are at 4 o'clock in the morning, rooting round, picking messages up from the lawn, and you just think, really, what a glamorous life.
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't want it to get used to you waking up at 4 a.m. or it's going to expect you to do that. There's lots of tributes being paid, actually, in the papers as well to the pioneering designer. They put it here in the Mail, Pierre Cardin. He died at the age of 98. And lots of really kind of sci-fi things. You know, he really changed suits. For example, the Beatles in 1963. Look at the sharp suits that they were wearing. So, yeah, lots of people talking about him yesterday.
See the headlines as they happen and watch BBC News live in the app and get the full story with bbc.co.uk/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.